Greetings humanity, and welcome to Channel Otherdoc. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and this is the second Monday night story arc in our Waking Nightmares campaign of Don't Rest Your Head, a game by Fred Hicks of Evil Hat Productions. The title of this arc is The Frozen Soul, and this is a supernatural horror game in which the Insomniac characters have been awake for so long, they've developed strange abilities and can freely interact with a realm of living nightmares, which I'm sure we're going to get to see some of tonight. We're going to go ahead and go around and say hi to everyone and find out who they are and who they are playing. And we will start this evening with Nash. Hello.
Hi, I'm Nash. I use they, them pronouns. Tonight I am playing Lana, our former attorney turned van lifer. And quite frankly, I'm jealous because my van lifer, or my character is living the life I wish I could live. But, you know, better living through art than not at all.
You know, aim for what you can aim for. It's good to visualize these things. And now we will head over to James, or Jimbeaux. Hello.
Hey, I'm Jimbeaux. I use he, him pronouns. My character is Cole McManus, who also uses he, him pronouns, but uses them much more loudly than I do. Think, if you will, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? Brian Blessed, but if he were younger and was a footballer. That's pretty much Cole.
Excellent. I can't wait to see this. And now we are going to head over to Celeste. Hello.
What's up, everybody? I'm Celeste. I use they, he pronouns. Tonight I'll be playing Jeremiah Gray, otherwise known as Jay Gray, who uses he, they pronouns, a overworked and under-rested wedding planner who is working his latest job and hopefully surviving it. Because you know how weddings are. All that blood.
Yeah.
All those deaths.
Yeah.
I'm method acting tonight. I haven't slept for a while, so
God.
have fun with that.
I hope all is well. Please. If you need to sleep in real life, though, if it comes up to it, please go ahead and do that. I will understand. It'll be fine. We'll understand. But, you know, it's dedication. or character research, who knows? I've been doing plenty of character research myself lately. And now we're going to head over to Rrok. Hello.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Rrok, and tonight I will be playing the role of Dustin Lind, a sculptor and artist who has been perhaps relying just a little too much on the Mad City for a source of inspiration and creativity.
I'm sure everything will be just fine. Just fine.
Yes.
But, that said, you may see us use safety tools from time to time. Like we do with the other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or like hold up a card, or like make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that, again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anybody needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game has the potential for discussions of physical and mental debilitation, insomnia, death, law enforcement, nightmares, body horror, addiction, being stalked and chased by supernatural beings, and other horrific themes. This game has mechanics related to states arising from sleep deprivation, referred to in-game as exhaustion, madness, scars, and fight-or-flight responses, but places the expression of those states squarely in the hands of the players. And you can see that at any time in Twitch chat, if you're in Twitch chat, by typing !DRYH, that's Don't Rest Your Head, CW for content warning, and that'll display there. It's also on rotation, so it'll show up from time to time as more messages happen in chat. Finally, please remember that we have an open door policy, so that means that any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. So, we are kicking things off. This narrative, this strange narrative, at a wedding. And this wedding is happening in roughly somewhere in the eastern half of North Carolina. There are a couple of Renaissance festivals that go back and forth in this state. One is kind of close to where I am, and then there's another one that only seems to operate for about once a year. Like on one weekend a year. And this is probably closer. This is a fictional festival that is kind of inspired by these festivals. But right now, no one is currently working the festival because it is not festival time. But perhaps soon there actually is there might be a little bit. There might be opening for a little bit soon. So we're going to look into that. We are on the festival grounds. The festival again is not currently in service, but everyone who is in the wedding, well, most of the people, I should say, most of the grooms and the bride are all folks who work at the Renaissance Festival in one capacity or another. This place is rife with Rennies, as they might say, and so a number of things that are appropriate. You have people that are dressed in medieval garb. And you have let me see. You have basically there are folks who are playing era appropriate instruments. It's basically a very they're having a jolly time this evening. There has been we're at the reception. The wedding has already taken place. They did they did a semi-traditional ceremony outside, but they also had they included a couple of hand fastings. It was a double wedding. This is specifically the Hummel-Cronin-Hummel-Callahan wedding, and two pairs of twins have just tied the knot, both literally and figuratively. Kieran Hummel and Terry Hummel. Kieran has just married Leo Cronin, who is a builder, a carpenter, at the fair. Kieran is a metal worker. Terry is a leather worker. Has just married Maeve Callahan, who is a fire performer. And so they have gone inside. Everyone has gone inside to the banquet hall at this point. Everyone has been partying for a while now. And I think it's one of those evenings where people have been in their cups. It's gone fairly well. It's gone fairly decently. Not everyone, unfortunately, from the Ren Fair could attend. the circle of friends who do. I mean, you know, obviously the touring folks who come through, you know, obviously can't make it. A good portion of them, if they're off somewhere else working right now. But a lot of the regulars make it. A good portion of the royal court was able to make it. Unfortunately, the two monarchs have fallen ill, and they were not able to come. So the king and queen are not here, as they are. But I mean, you know, everyone's off duty, so you don't really necessarily have to worry about royal titles or anything like that in this. But you know, the people who play these roles, right? So there has been a mighty banquet. Of note this evening, amongst the guests, there is a falconer who is able to show up. There is the person who this Renaissance Fair has a mascot, as I recall. There's a dog who is a mascot. It's a golden retriever. It's an unofficial mascot, but the person who the person who keeps the golden retriever is here. They handle some of the animals. It's kind of a farm dog, basically. They also will not tonight, but when the festival is happening, this individual also will bring has a couple of Highland cows that they bring in, that are delightful and adorable. When sort of when there's sort of a petting zoo area, they sort of maintain and manage the petting zoo area. So it's a very light atmosphere. You have a number of people that there were a lot of people at this festival, so it's kind of hard to keep track of everybody. You had these folks around dancing. There were basically initially you had regular dancing, and then things sort of degenerated from there into wilder dancing, as it were. And at this point in the evening, it's something like 10:30 at this point. So, and you know that at some point between now and midnight is probably when the two couples are going to retire for the night. But they have digs on site. A lot of folks here have wagons here, or trailers or other things. And so, you know, a lot of folks are going to be sleeping on site and waking up in the morning. So this party could go on for some time. The party the reception started. It's in a banquet hall. It's the biggest building on this on the site of these fairgrounds. Not too far from from sort of I want to use the term arena. It's not exactly an arena. The field, the jousting field. Just sort of across the way. And one of the interesting things about it is that this is also where they do the living chessboard. When things are set up for that, they're not set up for that tonight. I think a couple of guests sort of commented on, "Oh, pity we couldn't have the living chess." Ha ha ha. But that said, I'd like to go around and ask us how we are finding you at this point in the evening, what we see, sort of give us a little description of what we're seeing, and how you are interacting with the party, and what's been going on with you this evening. So I'm gonna go around the again in the usual fashion, for us to kind of see sort of what's been happening, and to describe a little piece of this this whole thing that we're seeing, the celebration we're seeing this evening. So I'm going to be starting with Nash.
Hi. So my only touch with anything vaguely Renaissance fair-ish is the SCA, which are similar but very different.
There's a certain amount of overlap.
Correct. So what I think, Lana is probably quietly watching a bardic circle, people hand drumming and telling stories and singing songs, but not partaking because they feel wild, or she feels wildly out of place. And in most respects, probably is way out of place.
Not terribly comfortable this evening.
No. But isn't like not enjoying them or enjoying herself. Just this would not be how she would choose to spend the night.
So you're not here alone. You have brought your girlfriend. Well, actually, your girlfriend brought you, I should say.
I was the plus one.
Yeah. So what is Jax doing right now?
Jax is probably one too many tankards of mead or some other alcohol, theme appropriate alcohol and is probably dancing to the music that's going on.
Okay. I'd actually
so nearby, but not on top of, not, I guess, directly with Lana.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and these are folks that Jax has probably has met a few times before, and so she kind of knows a number of them.
Jax or Lana?
Jax probably knows.
Okay.
Yeah, is what I'm thinking, because it's her cousin her cousin's just got married. Could you describe Jax a little bit for us?
So Jax's appearance is rather tattooed, rather like Jack from the Mass Effect games. Tattooed, she probably has a shaved head. I don't know why I'm saying probably. She has a shaved head. If Lana was your like normal office person, Jax is like the antithesis of that. Whatever you imagine that to be. More alternative, I guess, to give it a descriptive word.
Cool. Is she has she adopted the same sort of clothing as other folks this evening for this? Did she dress up?
I think she attempted, and by attempted, it was probably like a linen tea tunic, like your basic SCA garb. What, at least in my area, because the groups tend to be very Viking inspired. It's like tea tunic and linen pants. So like she put an effort, but she wasn't gonna go like full gown or anything like that.
Okay. And now, actually, if you would, since this is the start of a new arc, could you describe what Lana looks like for us?
Yeah, so Lana is an athletically built woman, probably like short hair, probably like shoulder length hair, brown. Some days would rather be spending the day hiking than outside outside on a hiking trail.
And actually, I come to think of it, did Lana try to dress up for this?
Oh, I was describing Lana.
Ah, I see. No, I initially was asking about Jax. If
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, well, then I messed up. That was Lana's description.
Okay, so Lana's wearing the
think-
basic tunic and pants.
Yes.
Okay,
I
what's
think
Jax wearing?
Is probably got maybe not full plate, but at least a breastplate and gauntlets on, because I just imagine them being extra like that.
Wonderful. No, I love it. Also, I mean, if your cousin is a metalworker, you have to pick things up from time to time. This is cool. This is cool.
I mean, also there was I imagine, did we decide Jax wasn't in the... Jax is adjacent enough to the wedding party if she isn't in it.
Yeah, I think we said
imagine-
she's not in it. Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, but I think, like, their cousin did, like, a reverse present and made some sort of piece for important people, even
Yeah,
if they're
yeah.
not in the wedding party.
Sure. Sure, no, that's fine. So, Lana's just sort of hanging out near this bardic circle. Just kind of sort of off, kind of by herself, still sort of listening to them as they're sitting around and playing. And we're going to drift the camera over to Colum. And so, describe for us, Colum, what are we seeing?
So Colm is definitely built like someone who is a professional athlete. Wiry, muscular. The sides of their head are shaved. They have very close cropped, dark brown, sort of reddish hair, and sort of a thick but short beard and mustache. They understood wedding. They did not understand Renaissance fair. So they showed up in a very well-tailored charcoal gray suit. Looks very good on them, but if most people are doing the Ren thing, he's a little out of place.
Nice. Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah, they're very accepting. The funny thing being that Colum was actually giving was actually in the wedding, giving the fire performer away. So it was an interesting sort of stark contrast to everything else. What do we see? What's Colum doing right now?
Colm, for a good chunk of the night, he was dancing. Right now, he's kind of winding that down. He's got a drink in his hand, and he is sort of, he's sort of flirting outrageously with a woman named Karen, who he danced with earlier, and he's taken a vague shine to.
Mm-hmm.
One small note about Colm. Colm speaks with an Irish accent. I do not, because I would butcher the fuck out of it. So.
Understood. Was Karen part of the how close to everybody is Karen as far as this goes?
I think she's a friend of one of the guys that got married.
Okay.
Not related, not super close, but was invited.
Cool. Let's say that maybe she's one of Leo's friends.
Sure, that works.
Awesome. All right. And I'm gonna guess she's probably closer to Colum's age, so she's probably a little older than some of the other folks around here. I'm guessing.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to swing around to after we sort of swing past, we see Cullum and Karen are kind of drinking a little bit, and we're gonna swing around to Jay. What do we see?
So Jay is kind of in his mid-30s, just a little bit of graying starting at the temples of his very nicely cut and slicked over hair, with a very well-trimmed short goatee. He's kind of middling height, so about 5'5", 5'6", and he is dressed for the occasion. That is to say, he did try to get into the Renaissance thing a little bit. He does also have a little bit of the basic bitch tunic and slacks going on, but he at least has tried to put on some color a little bit. You know, he's just tried to do some colors a little bit. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He had to do enough research to put this together, because he is the wedding planner, but he had a lot of other things to worry about. His own outfit kind of wound up on the bottom of the stack. But he is, when the wedding is going, the work is not done. He still is going around making sure, okay, do we have enough? Is there enough food? Are people done with food now? Should we clean that up? Are there enough drinks coming out of the kitchen, out of the bar? Do we need more of anything? Do we need less of anything? Does any arrangements need to be made? He is all over the place, fully busybody, trying to make sure that everything is continuing to run smoothly. And still managing to find the time to occasionally rub elbows with some of the guests to make sure that if they have anything that they want to say about things, or if they have any requests, that he can meet those, that he has an opportunity to, like, oh, hey, I can get that done for you, no worries.
I have to ask, I'm gonna assume that did you hire servers for this?
Yes.
Okay.
There was wait staff that was hired, because you don't want the guests to be doing the work.
Obviously,
the guests are here to have a good time. You hire workers to do the heavy lifting, the food, the drinks, the making sure that everything is in order, the cleaning, all of that stuff. So yeah, he's got help. He's got hired help.
I feel as though there's I feel as though there was probably a little bit of a struggle about some of the labor here, because a lot of the guests are performers and they wanted to do something. So there was a lot of scheduling of things and figuring things out.
Yeah, and there's been like a revolving door of performance the whole night.
Yeah.
There's been, I mean, Jay had to be absolutely sure to like make sure that everybody had their time slot, that there was time in between for setup for new acts.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's been one thing after another on the stage, and if anybody misses their time slot, we just move on to the next thing. And if we have time for you at the end, we'll shoehorn you in somehow. But
yeah.
If you better be ready, or because if you miss your slot, then we're going on without you. Like it's a little bit cutthroat, and maybe he might have stepped on a couple of people's toes with it, but like he has a schedule to keep. He has a show to run, so no room for missteps.
Okay. Cool. Absolutely good. How is it going, by the way, as far as the things being, are things under control? Are things in chaos? Are we somewhere in between?
So I think there have been a couple of small fires throughout the night, just little things that could have turned into a disaster, but because Jay is always on top of it, it didn't, and it got under control fairly quickly. There was one thing where when the food was coming out, there was like a main dish that was supposed to be brought out that wasn't ready on time, and he sort of like rearranged the course schedule to give it enough time to cook. And it was a little bit unconventional, but a lot of the folks here liked that it was a little bit unconventional, and so it went over really well, and so it looked like the whole thing was planned.
Excellent. I'm just sort of wondering, what sort of dishes that they had. this evening, because it's I assume that they're trying to go with like the standard sort of. Are they going medieval with this, or are they serving eel, or is this just going to be more like a things more mundane dressed up as as best they can?
I think there's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You know, like it's a little of both, because the vast majority of people here are Ren Fair folk. So the vast majority of people here are going to be used to Ren Fair food. They're going to enjoy it, but for that handful of guests that aren't, there's also some other stuff that's been made to look, you know, medievally, but it's really just, you know, mac and cheese.
What is the meat? Can we put the meat on a stick? I think is probably the question.
I promise you, this is literally just chicken. It's just roast chicken. You can, it's fine. It looks like, you know, some horrendous beast that has been slain and roasted whole. It's just chicken.
Excellent. Where are you are you in the banquet hall right now?
I think so. I think he's making his rounds with the guests at the moment.
Okay.
Sort of like,
how's
everybody doing? How you guys doing? Okay. You need a refill on that drink, hon? Okay, I'll make sure you get that.
Excellent. So now we shall swing things over to Dustin. I think that we're probably going to swing past somewhere. There's this centerpiece of this big sculpture. This big ice sculpture that we're going to swing past, that has a couple of dragons on either side, and dragons and a big red heart in the middle, and I think probably a crown on top of it, if I'm remembering correctly. And we swing past that, and we're going to see Dustin. What do we see?
So Dustin's going to be looking just, you know, average, kind of thin, middle-aged, kind of, as far as his attire is concerned, he's going to be wearing just a little bit more than sort of like the basic level, you know. He's been to Ren fairs before, you know, even kind of got into it for a period, probably, you know, a little more when he was in his college years. So, you know, he'll have a better idea of something kind of nice to wear, but not necessarily opulent. You know, it looks like he has, you know, he's got like a white shirt and kind of a brown vest that goes over it, brown pants. So he's put a little bit of effort into it. He's kind of off to the side though. You know, he kind of understands that his role, he's there as staff, not really even guest. So he's sticking to the sort of the sidelines. I think there's probably somebody that's kind of been chatting with him a little bit, because they recognize that, you know, he was the artist that did the ice sculpture, and so, you know, they're kind of, you know, just asking him about the, you know, how it was done and that kind of deal. So.
Yeah, I expect you've probably had a few people over the course of the evening come by to kind of ask about the sculpture and to talk to you about it. The grooms and the bride all were very pleased with it. And especially the twins, because they're into crafting, so it was kind of a big deal for them. Leo, the carpenter, actually asked a few. Is the only one who asked you where'd you get the ice? At some point. I think actually. Let's open with that. So we have there's all these manner of people spinning around the room, and Leo, one of the grooms, has managed to stop by because they've all been very busy this evening, he's like, but everyone's been in their cups, like I said, and he's sort of like, man, that is a really good. That's a really good. Very good work there. There's something kind of. I saw you did the. I saw what you the thing the stuff what you're taking inspiration from there. It's really nice. But how did there's something about it, man? You know what I'm saying, man?
Well, it's pretty chill if you ask me.
Where'd you get the ice? Where'd you get the ice for that?
I know a guy, who deals with ice. He just an art supplier. I have a friend who managed to get a hold of somebody, told him, so don't really know the person directly. Like I said, I went through a third party, so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And slowly nodding, as though he was trying to seem to play something cool here, and something like that. Okay. Well, thanks, man. And he's actually gonna. Eleni, he's been wearing. He's taken off his. He was wearing like a vest, sort of like an armored vest thing that he's taken off at this point, so he's just got the undershirt now. And the tunic shirt and the trousers right now, and he's kind of and as he sort of leans a little bit, you note that he actually, and he's trying to lean with a glass of wine in his hand, which is not a good idea. So the wine spills. It's going to spill. Are you going to try to avoid getting wine on you? You don't have to roll for this. I just want to know if you're going to try to avoid getting wine on you.
I think it takes a second before Dustin kind of like flinches to try and avoid, because he's kind of exhausted at this point from having done all the time spent working on sculptures and getting the ice and everything. So I think there's like that slight moment where Dustin doesn't realize what's going on, and then as soon as he realizes that Leo is unsteady, there's going to be that involuntary kind of turn to the side type thing.
Okay. So like sort of a just in the nick of time type thing?
Correct.
All right. So yeah, you can see he's going to spill a little bit on. It's going to end up sort of on his sleeve, and he's like, "Oh crap, sorry." and so he sort of staggers and sort of past you. Eventually he regains his footing. He's like, "Ah crap. Okay, well, I guess it's gonna be one of those nights." Sorry. We need to probably get going soon. And he says, Great work, man. Great work. I hope
thanks.
I hope you didn't lose any sleep over it. And
not too much.
He nods slowly. And you can see him as he's going off to rejoin as once again his husband is now sort of once again sort of out getting ready to do probably one last dance. He sort of is going to head forward, and he is rolling his sleeves up as he does so. I'm just curious if Dustin is having any what Dustin is doing right at this moment.
I think Dustin takes a few moments to watch as Leo rejoins.
Yeah. Leo's got tattoos on his arms, by the way.
Is there anything about the tattoos that stands out in particular, or are they just, kind of?
You're watching for it. I will perhaps. There are a few different images, Let me think. Yeah, there's there are a few. It's mostly it's very. So there's a lot of he's got sleeves, basically. Mm-hmm. It's like a full sleeve and then a partial sleeve. So. And you can spend a little time sort of seeing if you pick out little images, sort of watch, because they're getting ready to do one of those dances. It's sort of a final dance thing, so there are people lining up, right? We're getting ready to. So I think that sort of as we go around, there is kind of an announcement that they're going to do this final. They're getting ready to possibly do this dance in a couple of minutes. I think that Lana. Sort of seeing you, so someone has sort of wandered by as you've sort of been hanging out on your own. Someone who's been kind of sort of standing off to the side. He's been watching the circle, the bardic circle, similarly, just smiling, and stands by. This guy is he's dressed as a knight. It seems he's got his. It's pretty well detailed, his outfit. He's wearing a kind of a little bit some plate armor, but then also it's actually kind of like kind of similar to the getup that that Jax actually has on, in that it's partial plate, that kind of deal. But yeah, different work. Obviously, it's different. It's partial plate and partial studded leather. It's very detailed, and it's the theme is that he's got going is that it's all red. The is red leather, red, and the armor itself has been made red. And
is this ringing any bells for Lana? Like anything that she would have seen on her previous trip? Okay.
I don't think so. But as he sort of drifts by, and he's been here most of the evening, as he kind of drifts by, he will, at least as far as the reception goes, you didn't see him at the wedding. But he's been up talking to people a little bit, and engaging with them, sort of. What's your dancing? He says. He's certainly unusual. I think I'm not used to exactly this kind of thing,
Yep.
A little different from what I'm used to, I think. Have you finding it all right?
Lana starts pointing at Jackson, going, "That's my girlfriend."
Ah,
Like they haven't quite come to, like she hasn't quite come to the terms with using the word. And to her, partner has a completely different context in a law sense. And that's like too business-like for her to use as a term for a relationship like this. Well, my girlfriend seems to be enjoying it a little bit more than I do. The music is good. I see why these people can make their livings performing all year.
Ah, interesting. He sort of, he strokes his beard. He's got a big sort of, this big sort of black beard with a little bit of steel gray woven into it, as it were. Grown into it, as it were. Your age, probably. And he's sort of looking at it's certainly unusual. It's hard to see to find that how much has been remembered and how much has been forgotten. You know. As far as these different ceremonies, these things they are doing, you know. Well, perhaps you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
Lana just gives him a look like, "Are you telling me you're from the 1600s when this was all a thing?"
Good
but doesn't
question.
say that out loud. Does not say that out loud. Well, this is not normally my scene. So I'm not catching what you're saying.
Oh, sorry. Actually, he'll say. Actually, no, he won't say that fast. He'll say, oh no, my apologies. I did not think to it. Might I ask, what is your profession?
There is a long, pregnant pause. Well, at the moment, adventurer.
Ah.
I'm on a leave of absence, perhaps permanent, from my job.
Yeah. You're seeking your fortune, yes?
Well, considering I'm still in debt from law school, no, not exactly.
So you've been... yeah. So they wish to... but you have... Do you not have any patron or someone who is who's assisting you with this?
No. My parents were happy to have a lawyer in the family, but told me if I was going to go this route, I had to pay for it myself. And more red flags like, this guy's not from this century.
He just slowly shakes his head. Well. And those with the means always find the way to squeeze out what they want from us, do they not? Well, just sort of nods his head, and
if he's turning to leave, Lana wants to go.
About to.
Can I ask you a question? What year do you think it is?
He sort of chuckles, and he says, well, what year do you think it should be?
Well,
These surroundings, it can be hard to tell. Yes, there's things from so many eras here.
I mean, I was gonna say fair, which is ironic because it's a Renaissance fair wedding. I mean, that's a fair point, but we're definitely in the 21st century, not like the 17th century or sooner.
Well, I am something of a student of history, yes.
I just get the feeling you talked about patrons and things being out of place, that I think you might be one of those things. That's just the vibe I'm getting.
Oh, yeah. He sort of shrugs, he says, "Yeah, you might be observant. Who knows? Would you care to, will you be joining the dance? Will you be joining your, He says, gesturing to Jax, who says, seems you're, what is the, will you be joining your lady
I'm trying
friend
to
in
come
the
up
dance?
with a like medieval phrase for this, and
Yeah, I know. Will you be joining your lady friend in the dance? It seems that she's preparing.
you know, I think
Last dance of
I
the evening,
will.
I think.
I will join her. I will
Excellent.
probably make a fool of myself, so enjoy the
Yeah.
if you choose to continue sitting on the sidelines.
Oh, not at all. I cannot let you make a fool of yourself alone, he says, and he shall, I too shall see if I am a bit out of practice, but I too shall see how well I do. And he starts heading toward the towards the lines that are forming. So Colm, at this point, Karen has been just kind of hanging out at this point as the two of you sort of chatting, and she says did you get to what are these folks like? Did they I mean, they seem. Are they just kind of as we see them now, or were they any different? Like at the I know you must have been at the rehearsal thing, right? Last night.
Well, I mean, I think people were a little more relaxed at the rehearsal. I mean, the ceremony's the ceremony, but now people are getting back on their feet, and I don't know. I mean, this is my first time meeting almost all of them, really. So I can't offer any hard, deep insight. They all seem fine.
Yeah. She kind of nods. And she'll be like, "Oh, I am not a very good dancer," she says, sort of seeing the lines form up. "How are you?"
Well, I've been known to be good on my feet. And
Have you told her you played football?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She chuckles at that.
I'll be honest, it's less about being good at it than having fun doing it, isn't it?
She takes a breath. She nods slowly. Want to help me take a stab at it?
Absolutely. Could even get a little more liquid courage before we go up if you want.
Ah, yes. No. They will. As Jay will note that Colm and Karen appear to be once again draining most of the remaining wine.
Another cask off the list.
Sort of calling for it as they're heading, goblets in hand, as they're heading. Karen slightly unsteadily towards the dancing. Jay is there are... This is the last dance of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And after this, you're pretty sure that the grooms and bride will be retiring to their trailers. So then it's pretty much just like, you know, so things are winding down a bit. Some of the folk in the Bardic Circle are still playing, but this is, you can tell they're getting tired. I think that there will be a point where, as you can see, this is going on. Someone that, as you've kind of had a second to sort of, as this is getting organized, and you're standing off to one side and you're sort of watching it. I need to know at this point, are Jay or Dustin going to be trying to join the dance, or are they going to stay on the sidelines?
Jay's staying out of it. It's not his place. Unless he is explicitly invited and told, please come dance with us, and it's like an insistence, then he's not going to. Because it's not his, he's working. He's not here to play.
Gotcha.
It'd be fun, but he's not here for that.
Dustin's going to be in the sort of the same position. You know, again, Dustin kind of sees himself as staff, not guest, so he hasn't really been trying to participate that much, you know, in the events. So I would say that Dustin's definitely, plus Dustin's not much of a dancer, so
there.
His coordination is in his hands, not his feet. So.
Very well.
So he's definitely staying on the sidelines.
Okay. Yes. So I think what we're going to see is we see these two lines form. This is one of those things where they're going to... They will sometimes switch partners a little bit back and forth as they go back and forth between these two lines. That type of deal. We will see... as this is going on, so... It's sort of... Jim has not studied medieval dance, so he's just going to make some stuff up. There's some points where, you know, clasping hands, and there's some, you know, sort of a bit where you come back and you spin around, and you sort of break up into a dyad, and you come back, and you come back to the line, that kind of deal. And Lana and Colm, you're in this, you know, sort of, and it's a lot of the people in this dance are drunk. And a number of them do not know how this dance goes, but there are enough people who seem to know it to be able to help out. And, you know, folks are having a good time, which is the important thing, as Colin pointed out. I want to say that, Dustin, while you're watching this, another spectator who has apparently decided to stand next to you, is going to ask you, and with a familiar voice, is going to ask you, now, how did it hold up? Looks like it's held up pretty well, yeah?
I think Dustin isn't necessarily paying attention right, at first. So when that comment is made, he's just gonna kind of automatically respond, like he would to any other kind of compliment. It's just kind of a, yeah, I think it's done fairly well. I'm a little surprised, to be honest. Kind of Carolina heat and everything.
I can't tell you how glad I am. I'm glad it worked out. I was curious.
Well, it certainly seems to have worked out rather well. I think at this point, Dustin is possibly queuing in just a little bit, and he's going to turn to look to see who it is that's talking to him.
So this is an individual. They are wearing a trench coat. But right now, the face they are wearing is not one that you have seen, but you think you know who this is. This is Hemlock. This is someone who has dealt you sparks of creativity before. Today, they are wearing a face of looks like a young blonde woman, probably. Sort of hair swept back, but and yet also heavily gelled. And you're sort of up to the side, kind of looking.
I think Dustin's eyes kind of... There's a moment of realization, and then his eyes kind of go a little wide. And he glances around to the party at first, just kind of a moment of paranoia kicking in before, what exactly are you doing here? Like his voice drops a little bit. He starts, that kind of conspiratorial.
Oh, don't worry, man. I'm just here for. I actually, just heard what this was. I came for the cake. I came to try to see if I could snag some cake.
And perhaps a little something else while you're at it?
Oh, you never know. There are, there's some interesting folks here. You never know. Just a little curious about a few things, and I just wanted to see kind of how things are going.
Yeah, well, when you've seen the sculpture, obviously they're going fairly well.
This is the first time I've actually laid my eyes on it, so I just wanted to... Well, I had a feeling, I don't know exactly how to describe it,
I would describe it as magnificent.
Well, that it is. That it definitely is. So, Jay, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, how... Have you been especially... I need to know if you have been... what level of dogma has been applied... What level of dogmatic zeal has been applied to letting friends of friends and drifters and things like that come in and hang out in this? I and so that I just sort of know where we are with that. Because some
So-
folks are really chill about some. I imagine some events would be really chill about it, and others are less chill. Depends, I presume, on the wedding planner. How does this wedding planner?
For
do
Jay,
this?
it depends more on the wishes of the guests. If the guests
Okay.
are okay with random party crashers rolling in, if they think that it makes things more fun or interesting, then he's okay, provided that, you know, everything stays within the bounds of law and reason. If people start making trouble, obviously he's going to have a security politely escort them out.
Gotcha.
On the couples, and if they were I would say, given the nature of this kind of gathering and the wide variety of people here, maybe they wouldn't be too put off by it, so they didn't give him any special, like, you know, make sure nobody from outside comes in
Yeah.
kind of deal. But I think he would still key into somebody who wasn't there before suddenly being there,
Yeah.
especially right here at the end.
Yeah, the thing being, they told you that they expect there will probably be Rennies, probably Ren Fair people will probably be drifting in and out who are not on the guest list. They told you this ahead of time, and they're absolutely fine with that. I will note, Dustin is now. You will sort of zone for a moment as this dance is happening. You will note there's somebody who is not in Ren Fair garb, and this is why you kind of notice them hanging out, standing next to Dustin, and kind of just sort of watching the dance and talking to him.
I think the fact that he's not in Ren Fair garb is enough to make Jay's sort of alarm bells in the back of his head start going.
It's like, this person was not here moments ago,
Hasn't
probably.
been here and is now here, and why are they here, and what do they want? This is weird. I don't like it. So I think surreptitiously he's going to sort of like make his way over in that direction, not making a direct beeline for them, but start meandering in that direction as though he's checking on other things, and sort of like try to get an ear on what the discussion is between them and try to figure out what this is about. Especially if it's a member of the staff who has a weird friend now that they appear to be talking to. That's weird.
Certainly. So, Jay, you're making your way over to Dustin. I will say, Colm and Lana, as you've been sort of dancing, Lana, something you will note is that the guy in red armor is a better dancer than he let on.
I'm not surprised.
He is quite good. Colm, you interact with this person, this guy in red armor, also briefly from time to time, because there are times when the men will sort of have to, you know, will clasp arms, and this is not really a. This isn't necessarily even. Dance doesn't even have traditional gender roles the way they're doing it. So it's sometimes you'll dance with dudes, sometimes you'll dance with ladies, sometimes or other folks, and so there are points where there's a point where sort of a clasping of arms happens, and something he will kind of note as this man sort of his gauntlet comes down for a moment, and as you sort of spin around for a moment, he's like, you got a very good grip.
Yours isn't bad either.
And there's this moment where he just sort of looks into your eyes for a second as though he's looking for something. But, I will say that, Jay, as you head over, you see this person standing next to Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that Dustin, you'll see that Jay is coming over. And this person doesn't seem to react much. They're just sort of standing there.
I think as Dustin notices Jay kind of moving over, Dustin will turn to, or just kind of glance sideways towards Hemlock and just be like, I think you've been noticed. Now might be a good time to leave.
That's very interesting. You'd think that
I think
wouldn't happen.
right as he's saying that is when Jay actually like walks over outright and is like, "Hi, I don't think I've seen you tonight. Are you a friend of the groom or one of the grooms?"
And just sort of will let's see. I think they will smile and just be like, I'm actually a fan of the craft work. I'm a friend of some of the crafts folk, I think, here.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I just heard this was happening. Just thought I'd spin by for a little bit. Are you the organizer here?
Yes. Hi, it's very nice to meet you. I'm Jay Gray.
Really? This is going off almost. You might almost say like clockwork.
Well, I mean, I did work very hard to make sure everything moved smoothly tonight, so
yeah.
I appreciate that somebody notices that effort.
Oh, definitely. I know some folks who'd be sort of it'd be kill for your skill set.
I think Dustin kind of does a very panicked sideways glance at that one.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Like, he's got this look on his face of like vague confusion and befuddlement. Like it's almost like somebody's making an in-joke that he doesn't get, but they're saying it almost as if he's meant to get it. So he does that thing where he sort of like, ha, 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 like fake laughs a little bit to try and make like he understands the joke. Yes, of course. No, I do know a lot of people who've been very jealous of my talents, but I mean, it's not really talent. I worked hard to get to where I am, so you just have to be willing to put in the work and to try to think outside the box a little bit, and you can really do anything.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, that's great. I mean, you know, I know some folks who could use definitely someone with organizational skills. If you've got
here, let me
openings in
get
your
you one of my
calendar.
cards.
Absolutely, that'd be great. That'd be fabulous. The dance is about to come to an end. As it does so, we're sort of now roughly in the middle of the room, as you've sort of broken up into two groups on either side of the ice sculpture. And Lana, Leo is the last person you actually end up dancing with for a moment.
Okay.
Leo, the one of the grooms.
Mm-hmm.
And he just sort of he's sort of smiling. He's having a good time. He's drunk. He's very drunk at this point. And you do the arm clasp. And this final spin that's happening as he's just spun off to you from the Red Knight. And who just sort of lingered with him for just a moment and nodded and smiled. And Leo has come to you. You've clasped arms and you're spinning around, and you see his tattoos, which you haven't been able to see all night because he's had his sleeves on. He's been gradually getting more and more undressed as the evening has gone. And you noticed amongst the tattoos, because you have a moment, amongst the tattoos on one of his sleeves is a candle wick.
Well, that's very interesting, because this is like the third instance of something like this happening to Lana. And Lana has the same sinking feeling in her stomach I just had, making the realization, although it should have maybe dawned on her sooner talking to the Red Knight. Possibly. Lana, even though the night is over, immediately gets freaked out and is like prepared for like needle noses to appear out of nowhere. And realizing that Leo's drunk gets even more frantic because well, it'd be real bad for him to get got on his wedding night. So yeah, that's where Lana is at.
As the dance, the final step in the dance, everyone separates. You all kind of will step back into this this kind of a semicircle. And there is a moment of silence that is broken by that sound of that I can't make right now because I don't have actual glass in front of me. But when someone holds up their glass and they hit silverware against it, and for a moment, and you see that it's someone standing at the center, kind of right next to the ice sculpture. It is the Red Knight. And says, "A toast," he says, putting down he sets the glass down. On this sort of little table that's holding the, actually, Dustin, is the sculpture freestanding or is it on like a plinth or something? Pretty big.
It's a big sculpture. I would imagine that it's probably kind of a centerpiece on a table by itself. That being said, I would think that the table itself is probably slightly reinforced, but I don't think that there's necessarily any kind of support.
Okay. Yeah. It can be standing in the center, the four center pieces of the chessboard, basically, if we like.
Yeah, why not? That sounds good.
So he has set the glass down on the floor, right after he does that, and so forth. He says, "A toast to the lucky couples. As wondrous it is to see that as they carry on to try to maintain the traditions and find themselves bound and bind themselves to each other for eternity. It's a thing of great courage." And he will actually draw his sword, because he's been carrying a sword, which he pulls left-handed, so it's on his right hip. He'll draw his sword and hold it aloft, and up in the air. He says, "It is most excellent. It has been an absolute joy to be with you all this evening." And he will say, as he sort of steps around the sculpture, "But I see our revels are come to an end. Therefore, down to business. In dreams I've dwelt for ages past, where time and space do not hold fast. But now I find myself awake amid a throng of fools and fakes. This revelry and mirth, spurn, for I am of a different turn. So heed my warning if you dare. Cross me, and rue the day you share. And he turns his sword and plunges it into the ice sculpture. And from out of it, a red mist begins to seep into the room.
Paul applauds. He thinks this is wonderful theater.
Jay thinks it's a little weird, but he thinks that it's a bit and part of it, and he just kind of leans over to Dustin. How did you get it to do that?
This red mist... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say Lana is freaking out because Lana is assuming that the Mad City is the next stop.
There's nothing about this Red Knight that stands out to Dustin, right? This isn't somebody that he's seen during the last two
This
trips.
isn't someone that you've seen, no.
Okay. And did Dustin ever... I know that you said that Dustin had noticed the candlestick tattoo on Leo.
Mm-hmm.
But he never saw that on the Red Knight, though, right?
No,
This figure?
You have not.
Okay. Right. Okay. So...
Mm-hmm.
My thought is that when the guy initially pulls his sword, Dustin's going to kind of, like that moment where somebody pulls something. It's like when you're watching a movie and the moment something happens and you immediately tense without moving.
Yes.
And then as soon as the guy plunges the sword, starts to plunge the sword into the sculpture, there's that involuntary step forward. Kind of like, but it's that artist's instinct when they see a small child next to something that they've done, right? It's that protective step forward. And then it plunges and the mist starts to pull out and Dustin kind of freezes.
So it's rather appropriate because the temperature in the room is now dropping. And immediately, as this distraction is turned, the knight will just sort of smile and turn, and he begins walking. He begins walking, and on his way, just almost casually, rears back and punches Leo in the stomach. Leo doubles over. He very fluidly turns that motion into picking Leo up and putting him on his shoulder, and continues stepping out of the room.
Am I still near Leo even though we separated?
You spun away. You're actually on opposite sides of
okay.
From him. And the knight is now heading for the exit.
Looking around, are other people reacting like this is part of the show, or is there more concern?
It's a mix. Some of the folks here are like, some of the folks, because they think Leo is sort of playing into it, right? And most of the people here, remember, are very drunk. So they're just sort of like weaving back and forth. There are a few people that are like, oh wow, that looks really, a few of them.
How is Leo's new husband?
Leo's new husband, Kieran, is kind of in shock right now. What?
Okay, move to intercept.
All right.
Excuse me, sir. I think this is a little offsides. You might want to put him down for just a minute.
Let me see. What pain rating did I assign the Red Knight?
Bruh.
7. The Red Knight has a pain of 7. So, you may, if you wish, again, you can remember, if you wish, you can add an exhaustion before you roll. If you want that exhaustion die, you can roll 1 to 6 madness if you wish.
So before I do this, let me ask, what am I rolling for?
What are you rolling for? You are rolling to be able to try to stop him.
I'm just talking to him.
Oh, you're just talking to him?
Yeah.
Okay. He is going to ignore you.
So now is when I will try to stop him.
Yeah.
And whether or not it works, and I suspect it won't, I would like to use my madness talent.
Ah. Remind us again your madness talent?
Comprehension through pugilation.
Ah, excellent. So you're going to try to headbutt him and gain insight.
Yes.
This ought to be a delight.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. So, what level of insight are you trying to get from the Red Knight?
Just very basic, because Colm is kind of unaware that he has this ability at this point.
Okay. So I would say just like 1 or 2 madness dice should be sufficient.
Okay.
Of course, you may roll up to 6. It is up to you.
Figure out how you roll things here. I forgot.
So, if you have the sheet, then
Yes.
you will, if you look and you'll see underneath the 3 stats, discipline, permanent exhaustion, permanent madness. Again, if you want to increase your permanent madness beforehand, you may do that. Up to you. But then there's a little die icon under it, and when you're ready, you press that die. It will ask you a couple of questions. And most notably, how many madness dice you want to roll.
Okay.
And you will answer that question.
I think I rolled a thing.
All right. Yes, you did. I will now roll pain. And one day, it will reveal itself. Ah, excellent. Okay. Holy crap. Okay. So you've got 3 successes. And I got 6 successes.
Fantastic.
Madness is dominating. So please check off a response.
Okay. Well, seeing as my responses are fight, fight, or fight, I'll choose fight.
You'll choose fight out of between fight and fight and fight.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So as this is happening, your adrenaline is kicking in, and it's like your fight response is kicking in, and you are coming for him. You're trying to intercept him, and I think that he very simply, as you do so, how do you try to intercept him? What do you try to do?
Just grab him by the shoulder and kind of try to turn him around.
Okay. I think that the thing that happens here is you reach forward and you try to grab him by the shoulder. And your hand encounters, as you do this, and you grab him, and your hand encounters spikes that come up out of his pauldron. He now has a pauldron. He now has his armor is turning a little more plate. It looks like still red. As he just sort of turns around for just a moment, you do manage to get him to move him just a little bit as he turns and he smiles His eyes glow red for a moment, and he winks, and he says, and he says to you, "Oh, we'll have plenty of opportunity to test that grip soon." And see, there's this moment, and he's still moving, and he's moving now faster as he turns, and it's almost like you're watching stop motion. Anyone who's seeing him carry this person, it's almost like, you know that bit in Nosferatu where they go a little too fast because their frame's missing? You see he immediately turns and is carrying this individual. He's carrying Leo out the door. Meanwhile, the red mist has descended on the room, and people are like pulling back and choking. As it tumbles out of the heart, something tumbles out of the heart at the center of this red mist. This something that you can't quite make out. But you hear this sort of coming from it. Wherever it is, whatever it is. And as the mist continues to extend itself through the room, some folks actually can't even, they're actually, a lot of folks aren't even acknowledging it. They're feeling kind of chilly. And, Dustin, I will say, next to you, Hemlock is like, well, that's unexpected. Guess I better get going.
I think at this point, for Jay, the shock is worn off, and he's starting to yell for security.
Mm-hmm.
If they're responding. If not, well, fuck.
Where is security supposed to be right now?
So given that things were winding down, they were probably just manning the exits, and they were about to start helping break things down.
Yes. They should be snapping to right now. They absolutely should be.
And they're just gone. They're just not there. Cool.
They
Awesome.
don't appear to be here.
Love that. Awesome. Jay starts shouting for security, realizes they're not coming, and then looks at Dustin, looks at all of the fuck shit. What do we do?
How am I supposed to know? Why are you looking at these?
I don't know. I'm not. No, nothing. I don't. What?
That's supposed to be a dye, not smoke or whatever it is. It's just supposed to be red dye.
Does Lana know Dustin is here?
Yes.
Like, have they?
Yeah, you know
encountered each
Dustin.
other?
Yeah, you've encountered each other this evening. You knew he was here. Remember, you recommended him. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
So I think you see Lana like running, and thank goodness she's in a tea tunic and linen pants, to make for good running across the feast hall or wherever we're dancing. I'm also imagining like a big giant canvas tent, kind of.
Yeah. Well, it's a banquet hall. It's a permanent building.
No, is it a permanent?
Yeah, it's a building designed to look like a castle.
Well, Lana is sprinting, and Lana is much more physically fit than I am, so she's probably sprinting quite quickly. So, I had an encounter with that Red Knight dude before the last dance, and this isn't a good situation, and I suspect he's an antagonist of, my friend. Lana.
Yeah, Jax is actually sort of watching. Is sort of has seen you roll, and she looks a little concerned, but is kind of like, huh? But you will note, by the way, as you are starting to talk to Dustin, and Jax is also moving over in your direction, a little bit concerned. There is one more cry, this sort of "Ah!" as this thing that none of you can quite make out, but it is red and it is flying, launches up from within the mist and flaps its way out the door. It's about the size of about the size maybe of a person. And I think that is actually where we're going to take a break, because we have hit our halftime. We're going to take a quick break as the situation unfurls. I do have an interview queued up. Wherein Pope and I talk shamelessly about Don't Rest Your Head in general. And we will be back shortly. See you in a moment. Welcome to the break. I am here with Pope, and we are going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite games ever, Don't Rest Your Head. Greetings, how are you doing?
Greetings, I'm doing quite well.
We were both rubbing our hands in eager anticipation of this topic. Are you as addicted to this game as I am?
I have a deep and abiding love for the game because it does everything that Changeling does, but in a much tighter package.
Oh dear God!
And
yes.
It is Changeling demands a campaign. Don't Rest Your Head just demands a night. You can try and run a campaign, but if you've only got like an evening to spend with friends and to give them one hell of a ride, there's nothing that quite compares to Don't Rest Your Head.
This is very, very true. How did you end up coming across Don't Rest Your Head? How did it happen for you?
It's all your fault.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize.
No, catching one of those miniseries early on and seeing that and going, I love this. I need this. And then getting to run it over on Colonomicon's channel and
yes,
getting a chance with that. And yeah, no, it's been a love. And when somebody goes like, hey, can you roll a one shot? Especially in real life, it's like, well, I've got this. Do you want to have an interesting time? This is going to provide it. For a lot of what I like to refer to as World of Darkness refugees, it is a nice refuge.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Something that I've said for a very long time is probably since the first time I ever actually got to run Don't Rest Your Head, which was somewhere in the late aughts, I think. It is because I was prior to that I was deep into World of Darkness for quite some time, and I thought if you want to play, and this I sort of playfully say this, and I understand this can come off as a slight, so I apologize in advance to folks deeply into Vampire. But I too have been a very deep fan of Vampire. But something I've said for some time is if you want a game where you get to play a supernatural undead badass, you play Vampire the Masquerade. If you want to play a storytelling game of personal horror, play Don't Rest Your Head. And that spoke more to just the groups that I was in, I think, than anything else. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, and it Don't Rest Your Head occupies this really cool space now within the hobby of, like, it shares a lot of the same bones, I would say, as Quietus. Like this is setting up for you to go on a ride. You don't necessarily know the exact place it's going to end, but you know the area code. Like you know what the rough destination for this, and that is part of the buy-in. And because it is so explicit about its content and where it's going to go, where it's going to end, it makes it so much more enjoyable. And the wonderful thing that Don't Rest Your Head does more than a lot of other horror games is it gives you a place to put all of your toys as a storyteller. And I know with you and also with me, just you get to start building the Mad City.
Yes.
And then you always have that. Once you've built that little model piece, whether it's a transdimensional Denny's, or it's the bazaar, and building out who's there, you can always come back to it. And for those who have already journeyed, it's like visiting an old friend. For those that it's their first time, you get to introduce them to a location, an NPC, someone that is a part of that world that you have lovingly crafted. And because you don't stay there so long, it always feels fresh, it feels new, it's engaging, and it doesn't outstay its welcome.
True. Now, I've just realized we probably haven't fully explained what exactly it is that we're talking about. So just to confirm for folks, this is a game that we are talking about. It is a horror game in which you play someone who is essentially an insomniac with superpowers, basically. You have powers driven from your exhaustion, and you have powers driven from sort of the madness that builds as a result of staying awake for too long. And then you are fine when you're awake for long enough, you can then see the nightmares, the living nightmares, as they walk amongst us, and then go back to their home in the Mad City. And the trouble is, of course, then at that point, that the nightmares can also see you. That's how I usually describe it.
There is a price for power. There's a price for entry, and that even with the naming conventions, it gives you that up front, like pain being a name.
Yeah.
And again, that word is so explicitly evocative.
Yeah.
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're taking a risk in doing whatever that's called for. And so it is very explicit about what it is you're doing and the costs, what's at stake. It is ever present, and you need that for it. There is a level of atmosphere that horror games need to give you the tools to bring to the table. And whether that's like stress mechanics, whether that is, sanity, whatever it is, you need to have something to hang a few hats on. And Don't Rest Your Head has that in spades. Plus, it gave us so many intriguing, esoteric characters to also use in our stories, with evocative names like Ladies in Hating, the Taxman, like the Wax King. These names are delightful to good mouthfeel, delightful to say, but also bring forth so many different images in the context of the game.
I remember hearing you describe it at some point as something that was and the Changeling connection, I think, is related to this, obviously. But I remember hearing you describe it in a game as something that was like akin to a fairy tale. When looking through it, because it's very much like that, except it's a much darker twist on the whole thing than even darker than I think people normally think of fairy tales as being.
But it comes from the same place. It comes from that place of legend, and this unique conceit that when you sleep, part of your consciousness goes someplace.
Yeah.
And it is part of this collective human experience that builds these places, these things. That's what Changeling does well, and that's what Don't Rest Your Head does exquisite. Is it gives you the tools of dream logic, and for both player and storyteller, it's incredibly freeing. You're not, your hands aren't bound by so many mechanical minutia. You can go to the weird places, you can go to the esoteric places, and you can go to the surreal places, like just with your channel and Invisible Sun. Like, I'd like to think of Don't Rest Your Head as Invisible Sun's goth cousin. Like,
in a way, yeah.
It has that dream element that allows you to give your players a respite, because humor is always going to happen at the table. It always will. It's how we break tension. It's just
the
experience. But here you have, instead of it being inflicted upon the game, it's part of the game. Having those odd moments, those funny moments, those breaks, before you twist it or turn it on its head and make it menacing again.
Oh yeah, and I think we could talk about this for hours and hours probably, but alas, we don't have that much time. I will say something that I remember seeing. The thing about the thing about this game, and part of the reason that I think we're both so frenzied about it, is that it is just very adaptable, very versatile. It has, much like Invisible Sun, and also to an extent like Amber, it has the ability for its lore to just accordion out like nobody's business. You can make so much, so fast, so easily with the concepts that you're presented, which is why I've got these. I don't even use the base nightmares much anymore. I've got this entire weird thing of connections of nightmares that is weird. In these strange power struggles, changing the shape of the city, and it's just a blast. But to that adaptability, I remember seeing you use the Mad City in other campaigns that weren't even Don't Rest Your Head.
Yeah,
and it works great.
as a locale for that was doing a superhero game.
Yeah.
As a locale, and if you have a mystical protagonist in anything, if they're dealing with the astral plane, if they're dealing with dreams, interpretation, anything like that, and it is in a modern setting, the Mad City all of a sudden gives you all these tools without having nearly so much that the mechanics require of you to use these things. You can just go, I am going to take all of this beautiful lore, mood, tone, and throw it at this protagonist. And now they have to deal with this. And if you're using any system that has some flexibility, this is just a wonderful location to bring into your game, that then you can go later on, say, like, we're having a progressive campaign. You can take a trip to the Mad City for a little while in that game, and then later on, when you need a break, you can go back there, but with the actual rules. And your players will already have a level of familiarity, but be able to experience something absolutely brand new.
Yeah. And I got to tell you that there was a time not terribly long ago when in my Invisible Sun campaign, the PCs were in there is a nightmare realm stated, basically the dark side of blue, where they were going through and you can get close to people's nightmares. And I was sorely tempted. Alas, we did not have time. But I just felt, if they just continue on a little bit further, they're already running into living nightmares. Not much of a jump to start getting close to the Mad City, but maybe another time, maybe another campaign. Well, this has been wonderful. But just real quick, if folks just in general are sort of looking for you online, where should they go?
That is Pope World Build over on the Twitter. You can follow me there. They'll have all the updates as to appearances elsewhere. And yeah, definitely keep an eye out for more horror content, possibly with my shiny face on it, over on Balrog 1911 and Wandering DM in the future. So till next time, folks, take care of yourselves and thank you for hanging out with us.
Take care, folks. We'll see you suddenly. We have returned, and we are now, once again, things have happened. Various things. And I will just very quickly answer this question because I know I'm going to forget to. Otherwise, I see that in chat someone has asked what other deck I brought up in Session 0. One of them was Dakuma. I have several different decks of cards over here if I want to draw on them. One of them is Dakuma. One of them is Plot Builder cards. I also have a number of location and other types of NPC and other sort of weird thing decks here that I can make use of and probably will make use of in a moment. Case in point. Column has just prior to what has been happening attempted to engage his madness talent to try to gain some sort of insight from laying a hand on the Red Knight. And there is rage that comes with this. But let me take a look. Okay. Another thing that I'm using for randomization is the Sooth deck from Invisible Sun. Those of us who remember that recently. I got the Hunter. We'll see if that means anything in a moment. Probably. Let's see. Just so that I remind myself what the Hunter is about. Nature, death, conflict, survival, seeking a goal. Okay.
Seems rather on the nose.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So, survival. Yes. Colin? How much do you... No. I'm not gonna go quite that far. Here's the thing, though. For a moment, as you are, this night came forth, the spike came up, and with it came this strange insight, visions, that throws you temporarily out of the room, it seems, to you. Standing on a bloody battlefield, caked in pieces of enemy. You have been awake for so long, so very long. But the people, a lot of combatants lie dead around you. And a sense of the shadow behind you telling you, you can continue to live if you step forward. Blurred images stepping forward across the battlefield. To what looks like part of a siege tower. There's a very strange looking door in the side of it. That's right. Just step through. And the door opens. This black door. The curious handle, long handle. That your red mailed fist reaches forward and turns. And you stumble through. You get a sense of rage. The sense of battle rage that comes to you from this experience. The sense that it can be directed. The sense that it can be used for the ultimate conquest. You don't see what's behind the door because that's when you open your eyes again. And you're standing in the banquet hall, filled with adrenaline, filled with the fight response. Something strange is just flapping its way out of the room that you can't quite make out. It's this red thing with wings. You know it's got wings. On the other side, you can see the knight outside, running out, Leo over his shoulder, whistling. And rather immediately, almost as though it was staged, this red horse is galloping up very quickly. He's not even stopping. He's just grabbing the side of it and launching himself onto it supernaturally quickly.
I think that Colm picks up a folding chair and just hucks it at the Red Knight. Not even going to roll for it. He misses by a mile, but he still does it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Lana and Jay and Dustin, as you're over to the side and you're seeing, you saw this thing flood out, you notice kind of like Most of the guests are like, some of them are stunned, some of them are like just sort of laughing. Some of them are a little concerned. In particular, the wedding party is a little concerned. A little bit. They're not sure what to make of what happened. And you all do see Colm like turn and where this knight was, he picks up a chair and he hurls it out the door. What are you all doing?
Does Lana get the impression that everyone saw what just happened?
Lana gets the impression that very few people saw what just happened.
Other than Leo disappeared.
Yes, someone carried Leo out.
Okay.
They saw the knight carry Leo out of the room. They did not see the red flying thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not sure how to... It doesn't... I don't think they saw the knight's armor changing. Which appeared to be changing. I don't think most of them probably can't see the mist either.
So I think Lana, like, immediately goes into, like, this was a witness that I didn't expect, like, lawyer mode. And starts ushering people out of the banquet hall.
You have your, you have a talent for this kind of thing. I will say, you will note, of the people in the room, as you're looking around, and just noting everyone's position, the people who seem aware of everything, who are currently in the room, are Jay and Dustin and Colm and this lady who's over by the cake taking a piece of cake, wearing a trench coat. She's just sort of was like, she seemed to notice it, but doesn't seem to care. So, jury's out on that. But
I think Lana has gone through, like, something crazy happening in the courtroom and having to deal with the situation. So Lana is gonna, like, motion to someone to call 911 and usher the people who clearly don't have a clue out of the room.
What?
Party's over. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I hope you had a good night. It was a great wedding, wasn't it? Now it's time for bed.
I'm going to assign this. Let's see. They're not going to be too terribly resistant, but I am going to set a pain rating of about... I'm going to set a pain rating of 2.
Okay. I'm not going to add a level of exhaustion. Not for this. It's too early. But I'm going to... No, I'm just going to roll.
All right. 1 success. 2 successes. I did not actually. I didn't take an additional penalty from Colm, but that's okay. We can be magnanimous.
I just want to, like, Lana's goal is just to get people, moving towards the exit, even if it's not all of them.
There was a terrifying sound from outside my apartment just a moment ago, and I realized it was a vehicle. Anyway.
I heard it, and I was like, is that the washing machine? I don't know.
I'm not sure what that is. So, here's what's going to happen. Discipline is dominating. Good lord, that sounds like something horrifying screaming. It is a vehicle, I can tell, but it's still very strange. Anyway, I don't know if you folks at home can hear this, or if it's getting filtered out much, but anyway. Where am I? Right. So, yeah. So, Lana, you don't actually have anything checked off yet. This is like the... It's like the second roll. So and you didn't increase your exhaustion, so yeah, discipline is dominating. So I think what happens here is that everyone is very much sort of like the ones who are listening, which is I think that everyone immediately is like, you tell someone to call 911, right?
Yes, because I think Lana has figured out what is actually going on, but still feels it's important to give everyone who doesn't have a clue the air that, oh my gosh, there was just a kidnapping and we should do something about it.
Okay. So, here's the situation. Everyone's sort of like, okay, I guess, and they sort of look at it, they're like, People are they're very sort of nonplussed. They don't seem to really, they still think this is part of the act. And so, but most of the people are like, okay, we'll stop. And they're like, yeah, party's over anyway, I guess we'll head out. And a lot of the folks are leaving, are starting to leave. But you will note the person you tell to call 911 is like, no signal out here. Also drunk and just sort of starting to head off. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
And yeah, that seems to be the current feeling. What's everybody else doing? What are Jay and Dustin doing right now?
Has Hemlock had enough time to get away, or is Hemlock still?
Hemlock is over by the cake, grabbing a slice of cake. She's picking it up right now, and is preparing to turn to leave.
I think without even taking a moment to consider Jay's presence, I think Dustin is going to run over to Hemlock and just ask her point blank, who was that?
I have never seen that person before, but it was very interesting, don't you think?
I mean, interesting is a word to use, yes. Perhaps maybe lacking in scope.
This wasn't part of the show.
It wasn't a part that I planned.
Yeah. Curious that you probably wanted to get whatever was in the ice. I was wondering if that was something like that was going to happen. I didn't think it was.
Excuse me. You saw that too? I thought I was hallucinating that. What was that? What the fuck was that? Hello?
Oh.
What was that?
And she will turn to Dustin and be like, he's new, isn't he?
I've never met this person prior to now, so I'm guessing that they've never been to the city? No,
they haven't, no. It'll be all right. And but this explaining everything is not to folks who just woke up, not my department. But still, good party. Just sort of well, she'll reach forward and kind of gently pat Jay on the shoulder if he's willing, and be like, probably see you later. And we'll turn and we'll start walking away.
She turns on Dustin. Okay, you're gonna have to start talking real fast, sweetheart, because I don't have a fucking clue what's going on, and this sounds like some supernatural, like Harry Potter bullshit. And I'm gonna need a primer real fucking fast.
Yeah, so nightmares are a thing. Don't know about the British wizard thing, but nightmares are a thing, and now is probably not the time for a whole lot of words. It's gonna be a ride. So, And then I think Dustin's going to look for where the creature that came up out of the mist, is that still visible, or did that?
No, it left the room.
Come up out of the mist and left.
It flapped out of the place. Yeah.
Okay, so
It's here, but now it's gone.
are there any other swords around? I mean, it's a random.
I think it's a safe bet to say yes.
Okay, so I think Dustin is going to take a moment to kind of glance around, notice that Lana is attempting to handle the crowd, and he's going to take that as his cue that, you know, things are kind of in hand, and is going to like look for a sword to grab and then try to chase after the you know, the direction that the creature went.
Gotcha. I will tell you that that a couple of things that Kieran and Terry and Maeve have all stepped out because they're sort of trying. They're slowly, but they're trying to figure out where the night went. Because they're like, okay, clearly, Kieran's husband just got carted off. That was funny, but where is he? Is kind of the thing that's happening with them.
At the end of an evening of dinner and dancing, isn't that what we all ask? Where did the night go?
Yeah.
It's even
Good night,
funnier
folks.
It's even funnier because night has another context in this case.
It kind of does. I do want to ask, however, what Colm is doing.
Colm is hurling the most foul curses and swears at the retreating knight.
And have you stepped out to see where he's going?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think once it becomes, I assume it's going to become obvious that the knight is not something that Colm can easily intercept.
Not on horseback, no. But I will tell you what you see, if you wish.
Yes.
You do see the direction he's heading. On horseback, galloping, and actually it's probably going to be, well, who knows. So, there's this sort of there's this path between the sort of thoroughfare, right? Between the banquet hall and the tournament ground. He is I'm trying to think how this would go. Yes, he's going to he's probably going to take a shortcut. He's going to go across the tournament ground. He's cutting across it at this point.
I think
toward the far side, where he's not at the far side yet, but in the direction of the far side, where some of the edge, sort of the older condemned paths are.
I think that Colm looks back, sees that there's this red mist inside, and looks down and sees that there is a spike hole through his hand. And
a little bit. It didn't. Yeah.
Oh,
it didn't hurt too much.
Oh, okay. Then
his pain wasn't dominating. Maybe when the adrenaline wears off, it'll start hurting.
Looks back and sees the mist and just looks to whomever is closest and says, "Is this some sort of fucking terrorist attack?"
So there are not a lot of so at this point you're just outside, right? I think that so the three other PCs will hear Colm say that and you can tell where he is. But the people that are closest are probably are probably Kieran and Terry and Maeve, who have stepped out and they're looking around. They're like, what happened? What do you mean terrorist attack? And this is Kieran who's asking this. What do you mean terrorist attack? What do you mean?
The fucking smoke in there.
What smoke? And Terry's like, yeah, I don't know what you're doing.
The smoke.
What
it's
smoke
right
you're
there,
talking
the
about?
red stuff.
Talking about we're just and Kieran says, no, just looking for Leo. He was out here, right?
Did you not see what just happened? He got jolted in the middle and then picked up and carried off that way. And
oh yeah, the guy carried him. Yes, and Terry's like, oh yeah, that was funny. And Kieran's like, yeah, it was, but where that way? What the? And you're pointing at the tournament ground.
Yeah.
And he's like, where is he? And just sort of looking, he's scanning, and he cannot seem to see the knight, who's still out there on the field, galloping across it.
Look, boyo, either you've had too much to drink or I've had too much to drink. And I rarely have too much to drink.
He sort of looks at you quizzically for a moment and is like,
he's right there. Call your police. He's right over there.
And at this point, Maeve will start sort of moving toward and just sort of calling out, Leo, and Kieran and Terry will follow suit, and they'll start moving in that direction as they're looking around, as though they're like, where the hell is he? They can't seem to see him, but they're looking and they're calling. And briefly now, I shall ask, Lana. Most of the folks are kind of like going around. They're like they don't seem to grasp the emergency part of this. They grasp the go home part of this. And so they are sort of all filing out, and sort of hanging out, and still a little bit drinking and singing with each other. Some of them. I think you're muted.
Yep. Have I missed the opportunity to use any of my talents because I didn't do it in the first place?
Well, depends on what you would like to use it for now.
Well, I'm thinking my exhaustion talent specifically. Lana is getting fed up that no one seems to be taking this seriously. Would like to yell to do that like super loud whistle and try to convince people that this was not a bit. I
see. Well, here's the thing. You're trying you've already kind of communicated with these folk. It seems, I'm going to say, at this point, that you don't even have to roll for this. It seems as though these people are too drunk and too far removed to be able to really pay attention as you're trying to do this. Well, I will say that if you want to step out and I mean the only people who might be listening to you are the wedding party who are standing outside, but again they're out looking, so who knows.
I'm not gonna bother them, and honestly the super drunk people are probably better off and safer in the banquet hall where they can't go do drunk stumble somewhere that can get hurt.
I will say that Jay and Dustin will notice Lana trying to do this.
I think Lana's gonna go back up to Dustin and talk, and probably just talk plainly, because I think she realizes Jay at least saw what actually happened. And I think Lana will look at Dustin and go, Leo has something to do with the Wax King. He has the tattoo. Same tattoo I saw on the guy in the parking lot before I came to the Mad City in the first place.
Okay, would Dustin even be there at this point though? Because Dustin had initially,
Oh,
grabbed
that's
the sword
right.
and
Dustin was picking up a sword, and you were heading after the thing that was flapping about, right?
Right.
Let me revise. So yeah, Lana, are you going to follow Dustin to say that to him, or are you?
No, and the lady stealing cake is gone.
The lady stealing cake is picked up the cake. She appears to be leaving. She is. Yeah, you see her heading out the door.
I think then in that case, Lana's gonna go to Jay and go, this is gonna be a lot of information, all at once. So, Leo had a tattoo to some guy named the Wax King. He's a nightmare. Basically, there's this place called the Mad City, and if you're really, really tired, you start seeing things like red knights with supernatural abilities, and I had a thing's not the right word. I made a legally binding agreement with the Wax King, and his symbols seem to pop up everywhere. Are you following any of this?
Jay, I need to tell you something.
Yeah?
As Lana is telling you this, the mist that has hung around in the room is now billowing up behind Lana.
Less talking, more running. And he just sort of like shoves her like in a direction, and they start, and like urges her to move, and they start moving.
Lana's gonna turn around before being shoved.
There is red mist billowing up and aiming itself at you, preparing to roll over you. Horrible chill coming from it.
Yeah, Lana lets Jay drag her a bit. Where's Lila when I need her knowledge?
Jay, where are you dragging Lana? Just so that we'll know.
So the safe is, just to be clear, is the mist between us and the fucking exit that everybody else went out, or can we go that way?
The exit that most people went out, not the only exit.
Okay. Yeah, we're headed for an exit.
Yeah.
Dustin
There's an
seemed
exit.
to know what was going on. I want to go in Dustin's direction.
Oh, well,
even if it has
Dustin
to be
ran
roundabout.
to the opposite, so you'd have to kind of run around to
we'll go
to get to where he
roundabout.
is.
Just
Okay.
get away from the mist
the
and
exit,
get to Dustin.
Yeah, the exit that you will be leaving through is the one that Hemlock left through.
Oh, good.
At present. And so you can see what she does in a moment. First, however, I need to circle back around to Dustin. Dustin, you are outside. You are running with a sword after this thing that you catch it just as it passes across the moon, not that far away, obviously, but this flapping thing that you're not sure exactly what it looks like, but it could be dragon-like, possibly, just a bit. Not unlike the dragons you sculpted, actually. Strangely like the dragons you sculpted, actually. And you see that it is flying in approximately. It's flying trying to fly parallel to where the direction that you see the knight is going, as it's heading across. The knight is heading across the tournament ground. The red flapping thing is on kind of the left of the tournament ground, and is flapping in that direction. I will, by the way, mention that, Colm, you are going to start noticing there's some sort of flapping thing up in the sky off to the left of the tournament ground, just so you're aware.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dustin, what are you doing?
So Dustin's, continuing to chase after the red flapping thing. Although if when he notices the two kind of seem to be on parallel paths, I think Dustin's going to kind of like keep glancing over to see if the Red Knight, continues on his path, or whether there's, like any kind of deviation. Like it's like, he's starting to split his attention between the two.
Right.
To see just like how parallel they stay, or.
Yeah.
But his main focus is red flappy thing.
Okay. Yeah, the red flappy thing, it looks like it's going to be, it's at a little bit more of an angle than the knight is taking. So, right, it's like moving in kind of an arc. It's probably going to end up at the similar destination to the red knight.
Okay. Once Dustin figures this out, or, kind of makes that connection, then I think Dustin's going to start angling a little bit more towards the red knight.
Excellent. So, while you're doing that, Colm, what are you doing?
Seeing that now there is someone armed with a sword chasing after these people,
Yeah.
People and Flappy Thing, Colm just shakes his head at the newlywed and says, "Get somewhere safe. I have no idea what's going on, but I need to be involved because this is amazing." And starts just chasing after the knight on foot.
Okay. So you're going to run after the knight.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to run down to the tournament ground. I will note, that as you are, yes, you're heading down, running across. You're not going to catch him necessarily because he has a horse, but I will note something that is then seen by both Jay and Lana as they exit. Because, again, there's a wide field of view, as you're going to notice a couple of things. So, Jay and Lana, you're gonna see that as you're heading out, you're gonna see three things, right? All to your left, far to your left. You see Dustin running after this red flappy thing up in the sky, wielding a sword. He's kind of to the left of the tournament ground. You see, it looks like the retreating figure of the knight running on horseback, as a horse now, going supernaturally Nosferatu film sped up fast across the tournament ground, and you see Colm running after him. Third thing is that the two of you will see Hemlock, who's a bit ahead of you, further ahead of you, just sort of cross over to where the Porta-Johns are. And you see she appears to open a door in the side of one of the Porta-Johns and steps into it. Which is weird because that means the Porta-John has two doors, which it shouldn't. So that is what you see. You see those three things.
And that was the old lady who opened the door.
There was no old lady. This was a young lady with blonde hair and wearing a trench coat.
This was cake stealing lady, or did the
cake stealing lady? Yes.
Okay.
She was still carrying this piece of cake.
Well, I've pegged that person as someone who's probably been. Lana's assumption is that person has probably been to the Mad City, and that doorway is their way back to the Mad City.
Probably.
Just based on previous experiences Lana has had. So I'm gonna keep an eye, like keep that in the back of my head. Whether it works for us, who knows?
Sure. You know where the door is now.
Yep. And I think Lana's gonna let Jay take the lead. Just simply because Lana wants it to be his decision if he drags, or if they drag the two of them into a bad situation. Plausible deniability.
Gee, thanks. Jay's sort of like looking between flying thing, Dustin chasing after with a sword, what the fuck is he doing? And Colm running after horseback knight that kidnapped the person, and he picks the battle that he thinks is more winnable and starts moving in the direction of the knight.
Okay.
And Colm, because he feels like Justin maybe knows more stuff about what's going on than he does, but he also feels like chasing after whatever the fuck that thing is a bad idea.
Gotcha.
Lana was going to pull you in that direction more for the fact that Lana doesn't think Colm has a clue about what's going on, like, at all, and at least Jay has sort of been read in. Whether he comprehended what was spewed at him is a different story, but at least he's heard the information.
Alrighty. So, Colm is chasing after this knight, so you're going to be the first to see what happens. You have again also, by the way, the wedding party, the folks in the wedding party, Colm said, told them to what did Colm tell them to do? I forget. He told them to do something.
I told them to just get someplace safe.
Get someplace safe. Okay. They're like, okay, they're very worried, but they're going to kind of do as you ask. They're probably going to go to try to find a signal because they're like, oh shit, something bad is happening. Perhaps we should try to call 911. There is no signal here. We've got to find a signal. So they're doing that. Colm, you're sort of running after, your legs pumping. Lana and Jay can tell Colm knows how to run. It's running very fast. Not superhumanly fast, but fast. You see the knight, the knight's horse, head out through this big archway at the end of the track. And you see him, you see him actually, there's this moment, the horse rears up and leaps over this little barrier that's been set up at the edge of one of the paths. You hear it's like, yeah! I can't do it. You hear the horse neighs. Yeah, insert horse neighing here. As it leaps over. What you doing?
I mean,
continuing to run after, or anything else happening?
Yeah.
So, Colm, you're the first to see this. You're running after Lana and Jay. You're running after Colm, and you can see that he's pursuing the knight. You're not sure exactly what's happening up there, but you can tell the knight's still there. You're dashing forward as the knight has gone into the woods. There's a path into the woods. Colm, when you arrive at the barrier, it's a little wooden sort of sawhorse that's been put up with a sign on it that says "Old Path, do not enter." And it's been decorated with a little ring of mushrooms that someone has painted on it.
Great. Well, Colm, having heard none of the legends that surround the area near the Renaissance Fair, I mean, for fuck's sake, he just got off plane a few hours ago. Totally does not heed this warning. Does a quick vault over the sawhorse and continues running, screaming at the knight to come back here and get what's coming to him.
Gotcha. Oh, God. You do that, Lana and Jay. Colm leaps over this sawhorse.
Part of Lana, even though she's very protective, wants to just go, well, it was nice knowing him for the, 8 hours I knew him. But also continues running because Lana is protective. Especially now that she feels like she has to be the Lila of this group and know stuff and try to stop people from making poor decisions. But Lana is also Lana and knows that that's going to be difficult for some people.
Yeah, you're going to have a great time trying to make Colm not make bad decisions.
Well, with fight, and fight as your responses, I would say that that's probably true.
How are the two of you dealing with this barrier? It's not a big deal. I'm just curious.
Is it a barrier at a beginning of a path that's supposed to keep cars from it?
No, people.
Or...
It's a sawhorse that's been set up between these two trees. There's a little rope, a small rope that's tied from one end to the other. It's not, and yeah, it's not like, it's a sawhorse. It's about waist level.
Mm-hmm. Is it heavy?
Not too heavy, probably. I mean, and let me ask you though. You said you let Jay lead, so Jay's in front, right?
Probably.
Okay, so Jay is going to encounter it first.
Lana is also athletic enough that I don't imagine she's that far behind.
No, you're not far behind. The two of you are going to get there at virtually the same time. But Jay is going to encounter it first, so I just want to know if Jay does anything before we...
I mean, he doesn't, vault it proper. He does kind of, slow down and sort of, have to, how do I... Okay, leg, okay, we're good.
So you're going to climb over it, basically.
Yeah, he's going to climb over it.
That's easily done. Okay.
It's not smooth, it's not athletic, but he gets over it. It's not like totally stops him and he's like, well, time to go home.
And Lana is similarly is also climbing it or doing what?
Probably climbing it.
Okay. Yeah, Jay has started climbing it by the time you do. You probably get over it before he does. As the two of you are making this way. Dustin! The flapping thing is taking a right over the trees on the opposite side of the tournament ground. Do you wish to plunge into the forest after it, or do you wish to do something else?
As the events with the Red Knight going into the trees and seeing everybody else kind of being over there, I mean, is that occurring before or after me?
Roughly at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, so Dustin is going to go ahead and, I'm assuming that Dustin is probably going to get to the sawhorse, would have gotten to the sawhorse.
Well, you can actually, if you want, you can just run through the trees, which is, because you don't have to get to, you can go to the sawhorse if you like, because that's a more sort of direct path. But if you want to run between the trees, sort of through the undergrowth, you can, if you wish. Will probably be probably a little bit more dangerous, possibly slow going to do that, but it is doable.
Right. Well, I had already changed my kind of course a little bit to as sort of an intercept towards where the knight was. So
okay. So yeah, you'll probably come up just a little bit after Lana and Jay then. To the sawhorse.
So just kind of up and over and follow.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
So, lapping thing is now sort of spinning around in the air somewhere. You kind of still are trying to keep track of it. It's hard because there are trees in the way. And it's not like, it's kind of like weaving back and forth. Colum again is going to be the first to see this, but everyone will ultimately see this. As you're running forward along this old decrepit track. I think possibly Jay might be the only one here who at any point heard, like, don't go there, that's where the fairy ring is. Whether or not you gave that any heed, that's entirely up to you.
Not in this moment, probably. In this moment,
not.
there's more shit going on. And it was probably just superstition anyway, right?
Probably, absolutely. So, Golem. You're running after this knight. This knight runs into a clearing. This knight gallops into a clearing. And you see very quickly, the horse stops. He leaps off of the horse, still with Leo across the horse's back. Leads the horse forward into this little ring, into this ring of mushrooms. And there is this shadowy something that comes up as he steps forward and vanishes, horse and all.
What the hell was that?
And as he does so, you hear two things. The first thing you hear is you just sort of faintly hear and then everyone hears this as you're approaching this ring of mushrooms. Like some kind of a clock striking 11. There are no clocks around here. What are we doing?
I assume if I turn around, I can see the others showing up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Did you see that? Did you see what just happened there?
Do you hear that? What is that? What? There's no clock towers in this area. What?
All right. I have to admit, drank a little tonight, but I normally don't hallucinate when I drink. I mean, unless it's really good.
Well, welcome to the Mad City? Well, we're not technically there yet, but...
The Mad City. Is that Detroit?
That's the Motor City.
All right.
If you've never been, it's pretty bad sometimes.
As you are standing here talking, from the sky, from between some of the taller trees, you hear this whoosh.
Just follow me.
And
Sorry. We're screwed.
moving out very rapidly. You see this blurry red thing with wings coming forward, and there's this sound that's like and there's this big funnel covering the ground with ice that's approaching the lot of you. Would you like to avoid this, I wonder?
Yeah.
Is this Dustin has not reached the clearing yet, right? Like this
Not
is all
yet, but
occurring
you
right
see
in front of
everyone
him?
else, and you see this happening.
Okay.
So Colm and Lana and Jay are currently in the path of this funnel, and avoiding this funnel. I call it a funnel. It's funnel-shaped. Cone-shaped, kind of, one might say. Ish. I'm going to give this, let's see, it just woke up. We're going to give this a pain rating of 5.
Cool.
I want to use my madness talent as part of avoiding this.
So, this means if you wish to do that, well, let me ask briefly, who would like to lead this roll? If you're using your madness talent, it will probably be you.
Okay. I can do that, I guess.
All that means is you're rolling normally, and anyone else who wants to help can also roll, but we're only going to count their discipline dice towards it. Any result of the roll will also fall on them. Their discipline pool does not count toward what is dominating, but it does count for successes.
Cool.
Lana will help Jay.
Yeah. I think we're all in
Okay.
this together.
Okay.
So you're all rolling versus and any results of the roll, of course, as I said, falls on everyone. Jay, this is going to be against a pain of 5. You're using your madness talent. In what way are you using your madness talent?
So the way I'm picturing the setup, Lana is on one side of me and Colm is on the other. And I'm needing to get out of the way, but I'm wanting to get them both out of the way also. And so this is the first time this has happened for me. You see my body sort of like turn bicolor, red and blue, and then the red part goes one direction and the blue part goes the other direction. But once they've split off, they're two full me's, but in different colors.
So in order to...
And I'm gonna push them out of the way.
Okay. So to do this, so basically you're trying to do this fast enough that happens, and you're able to get your two me's, to your two selves, to do this coordinated simultaneously. You're gonna need to roll, I would say I'd say at least 3 madness dice for that.
Okay.
You may roll up to 6 if you wish.
We're gonna call it 4 just to try and make sure that I'm beating the 5 pain.
All right.
I gave you +2.
Sick.
And you have one from
Jesus Christ.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Of course I
5.
roll like ass.
5 total successes. I'm gonna roll my 5 pain.
It could just be a bad roll.
You never know. I only got 2 successes, so you got 3 more than I did. Let's see what's dominating. Let's see. It looks as though madness is probably dominating. Yes, because we've got a 6 and a 5 in there. So madness is dominating. So each of you, please check off. Lana and Colm and Jay, please check off a response.
I'm gonna do flight.
I'm also gonna do flight.
Effort.
Let's
Apparently
Colm
Jay.
checking off.
What do you think I'm checking off?
Are you checking off fight or fight?
You know, I was considering fight, but I think I'll go with fight.
Okay, all right. No, that's a much better choice. Okay. So, this is successful as you note this cone coming toward everyone. Jay will, as you know, Lana and Colm, as you're trying to kind of get out of this thing's way, Jay splits in twain. 2 people are now standing there, not standing, pushing, shoving the 2 of you out of the way, or trying to. Rather successfully, but again, Lana and Jay, and also other Jay, you are experiencing Your flight response is kicked in as the adrenaline is hitting you. Colm, more adrenaline's hitting you, and you want to punch something in the face. What is happening? How does this look?
I mean, to be fair, Lana was already going to turn around and run, so she probably just takes off sprinting. Like,
are you going back down the path, or are you going into the woods?
What direction is the funnel? Because the answer is the exact opposite.
The exact opposite, as close as you can, would probably be... I mean, it kind of swept around. So, back up the path would probably do it.
Okay, and that is where Lana goes.
All right, and what's well, actually, before what's the let me ask briefly, as these halves have names, as I recall.
Yes. So Jay is with Lana, and Mia is with Colm.
Gotcha. So.
Right, Maya.
Maya. Okay.
No, Mia's Maya's.
And
Maya.
is so and what? So is Jay also running down the path with Lana, or is Jay doing something?
Jay is following Lana.
Okay.
Maya wants to follow them, but is trying to bring Colm with, and is trying to pull at him and go, come on, let's get out of here.
What's Colm doing?
Colm at first looks at Maya and sees that Jay is running off, and for a moment just blinks and goes, "Are you a fucking X-Man?" And then, just completely ignoring any answer that may come from that, just reaches down, picks up a rock, and hucks it at whatever the red thing is.
Excellent.
And swears at it loudly and profusely.
We're gonna do a thing in a moment. Just because I'm curious. So, Lana and Jay. Dustin, you see Lana and Jay coming back toward you on the path as this cone is happening behind them. What would you like to do? You are muted.
You're muted.
Dustin is skidding to a halt. As he's seeing this cone of ice. And I think he's going to just kind of pause, brace, waiting for them to catch up to him.
Okay. Lana and Jay are going to... before Lana and Jay catch up to him, I just want to resolve something real quick with Colm. You're about to throw a rock. I just want to see what happens here. This is going to be a pain of 5.
Right. How do I flex my exhaustion talent?
So you can either do a major or a minor use of it. Do you have any exhaustion yet?
No.
You will need to increase your exhaustion by 1 before you use it then. So it may as well be a major use.
Okay.
Because then that'll happen. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring that up just so that I remind myself that's what's happening.
Okay.
So you're going to get +1 success to this regardless.
Okay.
So remind us what your exhaustion talent is.
Hooliganism.
Hooliganism, absolutely, yes.
If ever there was a talent for throwing a rock at someone, that's it.
That is it. So this is versus a pain of 5 as your hooliganism kicks in.
Can I throw madness dice at that, or
You may, if you wish. 1 to 6 madness dice.
I will throw 2 madness dice into that. I really want to score on this and see what the hell happens.
Gotcha. Okay. So you've got, looks like 3 successes. I also have 3 successes. Wait, it looks like, did you increase your exhaustion?
I did not.
Okay, go ahead and roll a d6, but do put a 1 in your permanent exhaustion on your sheet.
Okay. I did that right, and now I will roll a d6.
2. Okay, that's another success. You have 4 successes. So you have 4 successes, and it looks like pain is dominating. I shall take a token of despair, and you are successful, though pain is dominating. So let's see how this looks. You hurl this rock at this flying thing. This flying little blood dragon-y looking thing, you think. Blood-colored dragon. It is spitting ice. You hit it. And it's now like, "Ah!" And it's going to turn, and it's going to start making a wider arc. As it is clear that you have, that it's a little deterred now. It seems to be trying to circle around, though. But it's making a much wider arc, so it doesn't want to get hit again. So let's see. Yes. So that has affected its path. Lana and Jay and Dustin. Dustin, you're going to. Lana and Jay are going to. You're going to meet each other. You're going to meet. Lana and Dustin are going to meet each other on the path. What's happening?
I don't even think it registers that Dustin is on the path.
Okay.
Lana is headed to the bathroom. Why running to the Mad City in a fit of flight makes any sense? I don't know, but that's what
hey,
she's doing.
know.
It's more of, I think Lana's thought is, okay, that stuff is scary, but we have to get Leo back because Wax King. I don't know if there's sound logic going on at the moment.
You never know. So Lana is running past Dustin. What is Jay doing?
So Jay apparently hasn't registered that he did a thing a moment ago. He just, in his mind, he ran to the left, pushed Lana, and they started running. So he like grabs Dustin and is like, I don't know where we're going, but we need to get away from whatever that is.
And I think Dustin is just going to. Dustin saw Jay split, right?
Probably. If he didn't see the actual split itself, he can now tell that there is another individual who looks almost identical to Jay, but slightly more feminine, standing over with Colm, trying to get him to beat feet.
So I think, okay. So Dustin just kind of looks and goes, yeah, no, I agree. However, you might want to make sure that you and the other guy over there tag along as well. So, and I think Dustin is going to start moving now that the cone of ice is not an active threat. Dustin is going to start running over towards Colm.
Okay. Colm and Maya, you're in the clearing. This thing is flapping around out there. What would you like to do?
I don't think this thing further is a good idea. We need to leave. We need to get out of here.
All right. Are you an X-Men? I don't understand this.
I don't know what you mean by that. Come on, we need to get out of here. Come on. Let's go follow Lana.
All right.
Okay. So Dustin, you come into the clearing and you see that this is happening. That Maya and Colm are starting to run toward you again.
Right.
Hey, you've got a sword. Kill the fucking thing.
And I think Dustin's just gonna kind of glance at him for a moment and be like, yeah, this is not the place for that. We'll get to that in a moment. And then he'll turn around and start running back in the opposite direction that he had been running.
So, the four
Pausing
of you
for a moment to do that kind of, hey, come on, this way.
Yeah. So the five of you are running. Running.
As we're running, Jay is slightly ahead of Maya. Maya runs a little bit, catches up with Jay, and the two of them, they're back together again. And Jay has this like moment where he like stutter steps for a moment and like puts his hands to his head, shakes his head for a moment, blinks his eyes a couple times, and keeps going.
Yeah, this is around when you reach the end of the path, back where the tournament ground is. Lana's in the lead at this point, but and sort of Dustin and now just Jay, and then Colm in the rear as you're all sort of running in this direction. Behind you, you do hear the occasional, and it feels a little colder. But you don't take any time, as something's happening. So you got to deal with something. You run along, and you actually can even just cutting along the other side of the near side of the tournament ground. You don't have to worry about cutting across it. You dash up this thing. You hear it flapping behind you. Lana is the first to see this. You come around the corner. There are the Porta-Johns just a little way down.
I think it's a... So I saw the flapping thing, which probably still, like, gets the adrenaline kicking a little bit.
Oh, yes.
But I think Lana has gained some clarity, is maybe the way to say it, and that she realizes she's not with the rest of the group, and then...
Well, they're behind you, but you can, if you turn, you can see them.
I think it does. Well, I don't know if, like, Lana hasn't articulated what she saw with the bathrooms to anyone else, so she has to stick around long enough to say something to someone, probably Dustin. And that's what she does. She slows down for the rest of the group.
Yeah, you see them coming, and they will. You wait for a moment. You hear something flapping. You wait for a moment, and the rest of the group is going to catch up with you.
So, the lady who's stealing cake, who clearly knows something about the Mad City, went through the Porta-John. I think we need to go there if we're going to save Leo.
Just to know what in particular, Colm says, did somebody slip something in my drink? That must be it.
At that moment, the blood dragon comes flying around up over the tournament ground, soars into the air, and begins diving in your direction. Still a bit of a ways away. It's going to hit you in a second, or it's going to get close.
We need to go now.
Yeah, Dustin isn't even saying anything. It's as soon as Lana makes the comment that Hemlock had disappeared into one of the Porta-Johns, he's just going to start running over towards them.
All right. On the far side, the rightmost of the three Porta-Johns, there is a door, a metal door, that does not belong there. It's, yeah. The door says roof access.
Okay. Soon soon as Dustin gets there, he's just gonna go ahead and yank the door open and then just kind of turn slightly and motion to indicate that everybody is supposed to step through.
Jay doesn't hesitate. It's weird door or his ass frozen, so off he goes.
We're hiding in the toilets.
Are you?
Yeah, no, we're not really hiding in the toilets. It's trust me, one door is as good as another.
If that's some kind of weird pickup line, I don't get it, but okay.
Colm heads through.
Mm-hmm.
Lana head through.
Lana, yeah, Lana will go last.
Dustin goes through.
Yep.
Lana goes through. On the other side of the door, you emerge underneath the stars. Across from you is what looks like a graveyard of crashed planes. You are on top of a roof. And as you step out, you have a moment to look around. You have bolted out of this door onto this very wide roof that looks out over a city. This city, under the stars, possibly strange stars, is made up of many different kinds of buildings from many different eras. The one you're on top of right now is perhaps, this looks like kind of a thing that's not unlike a skyscraper, but it's a little bit older, maybe 70s, 80s. See buildings from the turn of the century. You see buildings from the turn of a different century. As you look out across this big sort of circular pattern that the city appears to be in, architecture of all different styles jammed together erratically. These roofs all seem to be connected to each other. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. With things like sheet metal and pipes and ducts and things that carpentry folks have hammered into place. And you see all these buildings. Some of them are modern, some of them are much older, some of them have these billboards, some are electronic, some are old-fashioned, look like 50s ads. Someone with it's like an old cola ad is on one of them. Some father figure smiling down. As you look out, you will see that there are city streets down below, far below, on which cars are moving. And these cars all look like they're from different eras. You have cars from around the time that cars started being made. So basically, engine, wheels slapped on it, very boxy looking. You see very modern cars. There's a Viper down there going past. You see things that look like art cars. One car that looks like it's made of undulating waves, and the waves actually undulate. You see buses. You see city buses that look like they're from the US, and then there's a double-decker bus that's like from the UK. You see people moving in and out, street to street. And a lot of them, similarly, look like they are from different eras. Some look like they're dressed very modern. Some look like, almost Matrix-like, some of them. Some of them look like they're dressed like people from like the 40s and 50s. Some of them look like they're from the 1800s, wearing Victorian-era clothes. Some even earlier. There are people out there. You see the occasional doublet. But not all of the people look human. You can see there is someone who is walking, and it looks like they are made of glow sticks. As they walk back and forth, they're all many different colors down there on the street. They're taller than a regular person. They're like 8 feet tall. And they're walking under their own power. You see someone whose head looks like the head of a telephone. Old-fashioned type of telephone, the type that you would, need to pick up like this. The part that you speak into is their head. You'll be damned if you don't see someone that down there who looks kind of Minotaur-like. They look like a Highland cow. But they're walking on 2 legs. And they've got their hair over their eyes and the 2 horns. Impossibly thin people. People as thin as panes of glass when they turn and walk by. You see all manner of these people. Some of them even climbing up the sides of buildings. Some of them that are in that way, that seem to have that ability. A couple of more ape-like people are doing that. At the very center is this. As you turn, you can see this big sort of circle. In the middle is this big circular district. These low buildings near the middle. And at the center is this big, tall, dark clock tower. Looks kind of like Big Ben. As you look up, you see that the clock face has 13 numbers. I welcome you all to the Mad City. This is where we shall be stopping for the night. Thank you all very much for playing this evening. It is very much appreciated. We're going to go around and do our outros. Folks can feel free to tell us where they can find you. Any final thoughts you have about this session. If you want to pick out a thing like a star, or if you want to pick out something that, a particular moment, a particular thing that you really liked, you can feel free to mention that if there's something you want to call out. We're going to go in reverse order. And we are going to be starting with Rrok.
Good evening, everyone. I am Rock and Roll. That's how you can find me pretty much anywhere as far as Twitter, Facebook. Most of the social medias is just as Rock and Roll. And was playing Dustin tonight, and I'm glad to be in it again. I'm glad to be in the Mad City again. I'm glad to be here with with a new group of players. It's just splendid. I really like what you did with the heart part of the ice sculpture. I knew going into this that with it being red that there was probably going to be something you were going to do with that. But that having the mist come out and then hatching a dragon, that was not something that I expected. So that perfect. I love that. Also the little hints of the Wax King possibly being involved with this. Love it. Just absolutely love it.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm very pleased to see Dustin once again just sort of... I love how almost resigned he is at this point. He's like, well, here we go. That was very cool. And we will now head over to Celeste.
Hey everybody, Celeste PLS with way too many underscores on Twitter, Celeste Shepherd here on Twitch. Don't do a whole lot of streaming of my own, but you find me on other people's channels from time to time. This is currently my only commitment, but that might be soon to change. We'll have to see how things line up. Currently, I don't really have a whole lot going on, but I would like to shout out Tales to Inspire, which are currently chugging their way through their first season. It's a superhero alternate history podcast where superheroes actually exist throughout our history and actually make palpable changes to the timeline. And it's getting better and better with every episode. I clamor for every new bit of content I can get, and I can't wait for more for there. I am going to be involved with that project in the future, but first season I am not in. But I would still urge you to check it out, either whether you're personally interested in the setting and the themes that were going on, or if you just want to get brushed up on the setting and the characters that you might see when I am involved. If you only want to follow me to that, that's understandable. But I would urge you to give a chance to the entire cast, and starting from the very beginning, because some fantastic people with some fantastic ideas in this story, and I cannot wait to see it play out.
Awesome. And did you have any final thoughts about the session or anything else you wanted?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me not gloss that over. Sorry, I'm so used to just spitting and quitting. But yeah, absolutely. It was a good time. I'm glad I got to invoke Jay's madness talent so soon. And I'm still eager to figure out how I'm gonna play the whole him splitting into two people and you know how that's gonna manifest mentally, not so much physically, but I've got the physics locked down. But it was fun getting to meet all of the characters as well, and I can't wait to see how the interpersonal things play up between them once we get into more of that. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's always my favorite part of any TTRPG, is the inter-character social and drama aspects.
Nice. I love the way that you described that, the splitting. That was really cool. Very neat. It's not easy to split yourself in twain and become multiple people, so that was very awesome. Very nice. And now we are going to head over to Jimbeaux, or James.
First of all, I would like to say that Colm is still completely convinced that Jay is an X-Man. There's going to be discussion over that. I'm James Silverstein, Jimbeaux. Don't really have much of a social media presence, but I am an author. I have 3 novels out currently, all set in a sort of alternate history, pulp, two-fisted, well, not pulp, hard-boiled, two-fisted detective stories set in a world where necromancy exists. The first is Necropolis. The second is The Case of the Scarlet Starlet. The third is To Wake the Dead. You can find them all on Amazon. I am currently busily working on book 4, which is going to be entitled The Case of the Red Scare. And I'm also kind of side working on book 5, which doesn't have a title yet. As for the game, a lot of wonderful moments. For some reason, I had it stuck in my head that the flying red thing was going to turn out to be this blood-soaked evil giant Canadian goose. I don't know where I got that idea, but it stuck in my head for a while. I love the fact that, like, I mean, obviously all of the PCs could see what was going on, but the alienness of the fact that not everyone could was subtly strange in an adventure where very little was being subtle. And I really enjoyed that.
Nice. And I have to say I am delighted by Colm. And just the interactions with everybody was really good. was really good, and just the idea of, and just the way in which he just throws himself at every monster out there. Was very cool.
I continually ask myself, what would Brian Blessed do? Really,
it's fair. Very good. It's a very good thing to do. Don't we? Yes. Awesome. Excellent. And now we will head over to Nash.
Hi, I'm Nash. Today I played Lana, who, if you watched Monday Night Arc 1, feels a lot like Lila. Knows that things are gonna get a little hairy. Also has recently gone through the first experience herself. Only she did it alone. So I'm just very interested in teaching what to expect, because I don't want to say it's downhill from here, because that's not necessarily true, but it could be. There's going to be a lot more confusion before it gets better, is maybe the way to say what I'm trying to say. And it'll just be interesting.
Excellent. All right, awesome. Well, I think that it was kind of neat, just sort of again seeing Lana latching onto this situation, and just as things going, trying to fall back on lawyer mode, and being and it was interesting to see sort of the challenges inherent in that, because I know Lana no longer as much wants to do that, so it's an interesting thing seeing that going back and forth. But as for the rest of this, who am I? This is an excellent question. This evening, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter, and then also on Hive and Mastodon and most other social media platforms. Where I'm not OtherDoc, you can find me at Jim Yes That Jim, usually. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other audio thingies and writings and such. Down below, you can access my website, social media links, YouTube channel, and various other things. What do we have coming up? Well, tomorrow night, provided all is well, as I've got some real life stuff going on right now, so I never know exactly when that's going to interfere right now, but hopefully, if all goes well, tomorrow night we will be having the premiere of our short campaign of Electric Bastion Land. That is run by Sarah, who in this campaign has been playing Isabel. So I'm very much looking forward to it. We're going to go treasure hunting as these beings in a fantastical city that has just discovered electricity. So very much looking forward to that. And on Friday night we have the other arc, the Friday night arc of this game. Don't rest your head. The Boiling Point. And those folks have been in the Mad City for a little bit at this point, but it's roughly at the same time, so we will see what things affect other things and what happens as a result. I can't wait. And of course, then we come back around to Monday night, when we have more of this, The Frozen Soul. And so I really would like to see what everyone does now that we have reached the Mad City. Very exciting. When we hit the end card, we're going to send a raid over to somebody. It looks like we might actually... the Initiative Order is currently doing, looks like a Power Rangers themed RPG. Crimson is in that, who is in our on our Friday night game. So we'll go see if we can say hi to them. If we can. If not, if there are any problems with that, we'll end up raiding someone else. Sometimes the Twitch is a little finicky lately. But we will go forth and do our raid. And feel free to hang on and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.